All right, let's talk about something you've probably seen everywhere, apple cider vinegar. I mean, it is huge in the wellness world, right? From your grandma's old remedies all the way to the latest viral TikTok trend.
Yeah, people talk about it like it's this miracle cure you can just grab from your kitchen cabinet, a super cheap, simple fix for pretty much everything. Weight loss, bad skin, you name it. But, and this is the big question, is it really all that?
Or is it all just, well, sour tasting hype? That is exactly what we are going to figure out today. We're going to cut through all the noise, separate the real facts from the, fermentation, and see what the science actually has to say. So yeah, let's get into it.
I mean, seriously, the claims around apple cider vinegar, or ACV as everyone calls it, they're just everywhere. And it's not new either. We're talking thousands of years. People say Hippocrates himself used it on wounds. Fast forward to today, and it is a full-blown social media celebrity.
Just go online. You'll see it all. ACV will help you drop pounds, it'll fix your blood sugar, it'll give you flawless skin. The list goes on and on. But, and you knew this was coming, how many of those promises can actually stand up to a little scientific scrutiny? Let's find out.
Okay, so before we start busting myths or confirming benefits, let's take a step back. What is this stuff actually? It seems like a simple question, but it's super important to know what we're dealing with here.
It's actually a pretty straightforward two-step process. First, you crush up some apples, add some yeast, and let those sugars ferment into alcohol. Simple enough. Then, you introduce some good bacteria to the mix, and they turn that alcohol into something called acetic acid. And that is the key ingredient, the stuff that gives vinegar that punchy, sour kick.
Okay, and you've probably heard this term, the mother, right? If you ever bought the raw, unfiltered stuff, it's that kind of murky, cloudy substance you see floating around in there. That's the mother. It's basically this powerhouse mix of good bacteria, enzymes, and proteins that shows up during fermentation. It's the whole reason people specifically look for those raw, unfiltered bottles.
And this really gets to the heart of it. The supposed power of ACV doesn't come from things you'd find on a regular nutrition label, like vitamin C or whatever. Nope. It's all about these hidden active compounds, that acetic acid we mentioned, antioxidants from the apples themselves, and those probiotic bacteria.
Okay, we've set the stage, we know what it is, we know what people claim it does, so it's time for the main event. Let's dig into the actual science and see what's real and what's not.
First up, the big one. The one you hear about all the time, blood sugar. This is probably the #1 reason people start taking ACV. So is there anything to it? What does the research tell us?
And it turns out, yeah, there actually is something here. When scientists did a meta-analysis, that's where they pull together the data from a bunch of different studies, they found that taking ACV can lead to a real, statistically significant drop in fasting blood sugar and in HbA1c. And we're talking about a modest drop, not a massive one. So it's not a replacement for medicine or anything, but it suggests it could be a helpful little tool for blood sugar management.
Okay, so what about heart health? The claim is that ACV can help lower your cholesterol. This is another one where scientists have been looking pretty closely, and the results are, well, they're interesting, but a little complicated. So here's the deal. The research does show a pretty clear link to lowering total cholesterol. But, and this is a big but, the real magic seems to happen for people who already have type 2 diabetes. For them, the effect is much stronger. For the average healthy person, though, the results are a lot more meh, kind of mixed.
All right, so what else is on the maybe list with some science to back it up? Well, there's weight management. Some studies suggest it can make you feel fuller, which, could lead you to eat less. Makes sense. And then there's its antimicrobial power. In a lab, that acetic acid is a beast. It can kill nasty bacteria like E. coli. That's actually why people have used vinegar as a cleaner and disinfectant for ages.
Okay, so we've covered the good stuff, the science-backed benefits. But now we have to talk about the other side of the coin. It is time for a serious reality check, because not everything you hear is true, and this stuff definitely comes with some risks.
I love this quote from Dr. David Katz because it just hits the nail on the head. He says the effects are modest to trivial. Ouch. Basically, ACV isn't a quick fix. It's not a silver bullet. It is absolutely not a substitute for the things that really matter, like eating well and moving your body.
And what about all those beauty hacks? Curing acne? Stopping hair loss? The short answer from the scientific community is a hard no. There is zero clinical evidence that it does anything for hair regrowth. And using it on your skin? Be so careful. People call it a toner, but it's an acid. We're talking documented cases of chemical burns. For people with eczema, studies show it can actually make things worse. And the risks go way beyond just your skin. This is serious stuff.
Because it's so acidic, drinking it undiluted can literally eat away at the enamel on your teeth, and you don't get that back. Going overboard with it can also mess with your potassium levels, which is dangerous. Plus, it can interact with critical medications for things like diabetes and heart problems. The bottom line here is you absolutely have to be smart about this.
So, okay, we've gone through the crazy internet hype, we've looked at the actual science, and we've talked about the real dangers. Where does that leave us? What's the final call on apple cider vinegar?
Let's just put it out there, plain and simple. Apple cider vinegar is not a magic potion. It's not a miracle cure. All those wild, dramatic claims you see on social media, yeah, they are almost all completely overblown.
But hold on, that doesn't mean it's totally useless either. The best way to look at it is this. It's a potential tool. It might offer some modest backup for things like your blood sugar or cholesterol. But the keywords there are modest and backup. It only makes sense as one tiny piece of a much bigger, healthier lifestyle.
So if you're thinking, okay, I still want to try it, then you have to do it safely. Rule number 1, non-negotiable. Always, always dilute it. Mix a tablespoon or 2 in a big glass of water. Never, ever drink it straight. It's also a great idea to use a straw and rinse your mouth with plain water when you're done, just to save your teeth. And the most important thing, if you have any kind of health issue or you take any medication, you must talk to your doctor before you even think about starting this.
And that really leaves us with one final big question to think about. In this world where we're all looking for that next quick fix, that magic pill, is something like apple cider vinegar a genuinely helpful little tool? Or is it just another shiny distraction that pulls our focus away from the stuff that really matters for our health? You know, eating good food, moving our bodies, getting enough sleep. It's a great question to ask ourselves. Thanks for digging into it with me today.